Here's a little bit of heretical human design for you. Now, while I love source material and continue to go back to it in terms of my study and reference and foundation, life has got to evolve. Human design, the way that we understand human design, has to evolve because all systems tend towards corruptions. Things that aren't growing, that aren't adapting, will eventually die out and become extinct. The same goes for human design. So, here's my heretical thought. While 70% of the world has a defined gut and they can trust and rely on their gut, that is not an excuse for the other 30%, manifestors, reflectors, and projectors, to completely discount their guts in their decision making process. Let's talk about the gut for a moment. The sacral speaks in this language. It's pre-language. It doesn't rationalize things. It just responds, either aroused and I want to engage and get closer, or get away from me, get far away from me. Now, people with defined sacrals have that consistently working for them. People with undefined sacrals have that inconsistently working for them, meaning that sometimes their sacral sounds are not actually guiding them towards their own satisfaction, but they're reflections for the people or the organizations that they're around or conditioned to as to what's going to be satisfying versus what's going to be frustrating. So if you are someone with an open sacral, you really got to pay attention to your sacral sounds. So how does a person with open sacral definition use their sacral? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I'm about to make something up right now. What I've experienced in being a non-sacral human being is that if I want to connect to my gut, I have to take a very serious and honest inventory of the people around me and their levels of satisfaction in life. For instance, if I am living with people who are constantly frustrated, I find myself being constantly frustrated. I also find myself being very unable to connect with my own sacral, to make decisions for myself that are actually satisfying. I find that the more satisfied the people around me are, the more clear the distinction between what satisfies them and what satisfies me becomes. This is why it's super important to protect your aura, especially if you don't have a defined sacral, because again, if you don't have a defined sacral, sometimes your uh-huhs and uh-uhs are not leading you towards your satisfaction. They're leading other people towards their satisfaction. So in taking this inventory, this audit really of the people around me and their level of satisfaction, a couple things become clear. The first is my level of tolerance for satisfaction and self versus not self behavior. Not self behavior is basically how you end up if you're not following your strategy and authority. This is basically a frustrated spider that's pissed off that it's not eating because it hasn't spent any time building its web. Or a manifester who's also angry and pissed off because they're not informing people about where they're at or what needs to get done, and therefore they can't feel any peace. They always feel like something has to, the foot's going to drop or something's going to go wrong, but it's because they're not following their strategy. Not following your strategy leads towards not self. Not self is basically anything other than what you naturally are. Again, a fish trying to be a spider, or a spider trying to be a gorilla, or a gorilla trying to be a banana. Just once you know what vehicle you're in, it becomes pretty clear in terms of human design how to maximize the potential and get the most out of your vehicle. So now when it comes to being a vehicle with a non-defined sacral, a non-sacral being, this is what you got to pay attention to. If the people around you are super satisfied, it means that they're very in tune with their guts. As a non-sacral being, you can witness that somebody's connection with their gut is their own experience. And when they are not bypassing and looking for other people to satisfy them, or stuck in the whole people pleaser, ending up frustrated mentality, that creates room for you as a non-sacral being to be more in tune with your gut. Because again, you do have a gut. You do have sex organs, my non-sacral friends. Human design is not an opportunity for you to bypass decisions based off of, oh, I'm non-sacral, so yeah, I'm basically just a people pleaser. I can't even make decisions for myself. It may feel like that. And if you use that excuse, congratulations, because You're probably growing through that edge, but at some point you got to grow up and take accountability for your own sacral, which you do have. It's just more subtle. Some of the best ways to reset your sacral energy as a non sacral being is to simply lie down on the floor. Be horizontal. Let gravity act on you in a way that is different than when you're standing upright. Because when you're standing upright, the fluids in your body, the heart, the organs, everything is stacked up in a different way than if you're lying horizontal. And lying horizontal is probably the best way for your energy to reset. Consider sleep. What do? You lie horizontal, unless you're a vampire, in which case you're upside down in a coffin. So naturally, sleep comes into play. And with human design, we say sleep in your own bed. Now, if you like cuddling, the fact is, when you're sleeping, when you're lying horizontal next to somebody, your defense mechanisms drop. Your aura becomes porous. You absorb and you convolute other people's energy with your own. Which again, if you're a non-sacral being, it's already confusing enough to discern between sacral responses. Are they mine? Are they somebody else's? And so if you're sleeping in the same bed as somebody, even if it's somebody you love, even if it's somebody that you have a lot of harmony and chemistry and etc. with, eventually this will begin to impact and erode at your sovereignty and independence. Moral of the story, human beings have an amazing amount of biological technology within them, and it speaks to us in very discernible, clear ways and methods. Your ability to pay attention to what your organs are telling you to do. When your stomach is upset, oh, it pulls you over. When your head is hurting, oh, you gotta lay down. When you listen to the pain and you follow the pain, you can learn a lot about why that pain is there and then what to do with it. We each have a responsibility to ourselves to satisfy ourselves. And it is only once we begin to take responsibility for our own satisfaction that people will then show up in our lives to help us maximize and optimize that satisfaction to levels beyond what we could even dream of. But it all starts with you and your relationship with your sacral, which is effectively is your relationship with your senses. You could see something and get a sacral response. You could smell something or taste something or touch something that gives you a sacral response. Even if you are a non-sacral being, again, you just have to discern, is this my sacral response or somebody that I've been hanging around with? And if you really, really love your sacral and you really, really want to get in touch with that bad boy, singing is a great option. But as I said before, sleeping in your own bed a lot, like most nights, is your answer. That's the answer to a lot of your issues, especially people that are having issues in their relationship. Sleep in a different bed. You can still cuddle, but once you're done cuddling, go sleep in your own bed, because bottom line is you're always going to get better sleep when you're in your own space, when you're in your own aura, when you don't have to wake up and sift through all of your partner's stuff. Trust me, you'll thank me later. And for anybody watching this who's thinking, oh God, I hope my partner doesn't see this because I don't want to have to sleep alone every night. This is for you. And you may not like me now, but I promise your relationship will get better if you sleep in your own bed. If you let your partner and let yourself really, really connect with that sacral that you got inside there, everything can only get better. If you found this helpful, please share it, like, comment, let me know what's going on in your head. If somebody came into your mind, your field, while you were watching this, please send this to them, respond to that, take some action. And as always, if you want more help, click the link in my bio.